Can you pass an FAA medical? And what happens if you can't? Hey everyone, Jason Schappert here, M0A.com, and we're going back to the basics here today. We're going back to learning about things like the FAA medical, how to become a pilot, prepping for our written test, prepping for a check ride, really kicking off the new third edition of our Private Pilot Blueprint, privatepilotblueprint.com if you haven't already got your copy. One last bit of news to get out of the way. You know I'm also a big fan of drones as a remote pilot. We're giving away DJI's new Avata FPV drone. More details found at m0acontest.com if you want to be entered to win that and a chance to dive into some fun drone flying. So taking from the Private Pilot Blueprint, where we talk about everything I wish someone would have told me before I started my training, the question is, well, how do I get a medical? Can I even get a medical? Let's go way back to the beginning. Who even needs an FAA medical? Well, if you want to be a student pilot, private pilot, commercial pilot, ATP, an instructor in airplanes acting as PIC, you need a medical. You know, technically students don't need a medical until you're ready to fly solo. But I'll tell you, and we'll talk about this more in a second, I recommend getting it done early just in case there's any issues. Who doesn't need a medical? Remote pilots, drone pilots don't need a medical. Glider sport, balloon, ground instructors, instructors in the sim, or anyone using something called Basic Med. More about Basic Med here in a second. Now you'll remember, or maybe this will be news to you, there are 3 classes of medicals. The third class medical is for private pilot and non-commercial operations. A second class medical is for commercial pilots, and a first class medical is for airline transport pilots. And as you can imagine, a first is more rigorous than a second, which is more rigorous than a third class medical. If you intend on making flying a career, you might want to ensure that you can hold a first class medical. I remember early on when I knew aviation was going to be a career for me, I was a 17, 18-year-old kid going out to get a medical, and I got a first-class medical. I certainly wasn't going off to the airlines anytime soon, but I had those aspirations, and I wanted to make sure, hey, let's make sure I can even earn a first-class medical and that everything is good before I pursue this and invest all this money in this dream. Now, how do we apply for a medical? Well, a lot has changed in this space. Now we use something called MedExpress, and it's all done online. It's an FAA website. You enter all your personal data in there, your medical history, and you must have this completed prior to making an appointment with what's called an AME, Aviation Medical Examiner. AMEs are going to use this info you put in MedExpress during the exam, and I recommend to bring the summary sheet. You'll get a summary sheet from MedExpress. Print that out, bring that with you, and I know I don't have to say this, but always be honest about your medical history. It's going to come up, so you might as well just put it out there. From there, you make an appointment with an AME, and you can find a list of them on the FAA's website. Now, this may not be a popular opinion, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some flack for saying this. This is just Jason's professional opinion. But I personally only go to AMEs that are pilots. I'm sure there are so many great AMEs out there that are not pilots, and this is not a dig or by any means. This is my personal, I'll even call it a bias, right? I like going to an AME as a pilot, not only so we can talk shop and everything else, but I feel an AME who is a pilot understands my mission, understands my dream, understands, hey, let's come back to me in 6 months and let's work on this, 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 and this, right? They're willing to work and to guide you through what some of y'all will say and know is a lengthy process. In fact, would somebody be so humble to share in the comments, has anybody ever fought the good fight with an FAA medical? You don't have to. I realize that's not, popular to share that, but if you ever fought the good fight with an FAA medical, give maybe some insight to the story down below if you can. But another option is ask your local flight school, ask pilots at the airport, who do they recommend going to for an AME? By the way, plan on spending $100 to $150 on this. Now, as far as certification goes, there's really 4 options. You're going to get your certificate issued, denied, disqualified, or withdrawn. So if a pass examination's received, you're going to receive your FAA medical. Now, some situations are going to result in a denial, disqualification, or withdrawal. For an example, more testing may just need to be done. Or even more extreme, and for better or for worse, the FAA may actually overturn an AME decision through like a comprehensive review. Examples of this, maybe there's a certain like a mental illness, like bipolar, heart disease, or a type of diabetes, epilepsy, even substance abuse, by the way, can be grounds for denial or further review. And those are just examples. It may not mean the answer is no. Additional review may just be necessary. Now, if you have a medical issue that requires further evaluation, the thing you need to ask for, and I mean it when I say fight the good fight, and if you've done this, you know what I'm talking about, it's called a SODA, S-O-D-A, Statement of Demonstrated Ability, SODA. And this is going to take, it's additional medical tests to determine if you can be issued a SODA. SODAs can be done for issues like color blindness, coronary heart disease, or even deaf applicants as well in there. Things that require additional testing and evaluation or a continued monitoring of health. Very good friend of mine, insulin-dependent diabetic. Everyone told him, maybe you can earn a medical, but you're going to be fighting the good fight. Well, we fought the good fight, a multi-year battle, and we won that battle. He was issued a SODA. I've heard of SODAs and know of ground school members who've become good friends of both Magda and I who are deaf and have earned their FAA medical. If you are willing to fight the good fight, you can earn your FAA medical. And you know what? There's organizations out there to help you. Did you know there's the Deaf Pilots Association? Did you know AOPA has an entire medical arm to help you with these? Always consult an AME for specific information, though, about your own personal health. Now, I know I'm running along here, but I need to dive into a really topic near and dear to my heart. Congratulations on everybody who fought the good fight to get us what's called Basic Med. I'm a big, big fan of Basic Med. It's really an alternative way for a pilot to fly without holding an FAA medical certificate, as long as they meet certain criteria. Now, here's the catch, though. You need to have held a medical certificate at some point since July 14th, 2006. If you've never had a medical before, you need to do it at least once, and then you open up the realm of Basic Med from there. What do I need to fly under Basic Med? Well, you need to hold a current and valid U.S. driver's license. As mentioned, have held an FAA medical. A point after July 14th, 2006 is the date. You need to answer some health questions on what's called a Comprehensive Medical Examination Checklist, a CMEC, CMEC. Get your physical exam by a state licensed physician and have that physician complete the CMEC. And this is not the same, by the way, as an AME. This is your personal doctor. I imagine most of you get annual health checkups anyways. It's the same doctor that does that, essentially. You then need to go and complete a course online. There's two course providers, two major ones, AOPA, the Mayo Clinic. They're free to do. And then you open up some amazing privileges. So you need to have your CMEC that's showing your most recent physical exam within the past 48 months. You need to get treated by a physician for any medical condition that may affect the safety of that flight, and have that course completion certificate issued, that basic medical training course, by that provider, AOPA, Mayo Clinic, in the past 24 calendar months. Now, what are your privileges here? Listen to this. You can conduct any operation that you would otherwise with a third-class medical, except fly an aircraft that is authorized to carry no more than 6 occupants, including yourself, fly with no more than 5 passengers, fly an aircraft with a max certificated takeoff weight of no more than 6,000 pounds, operate under VFR or IFR, I love that, within the US at an indicated airspeed of 250 knots or less and an altitude at or below 18,000 feet MSL, and you may not fly for compensation or higher. So that's Basic Med. Now, just because you have your medical or you have Basic Med, does that mean you can always go blaze into the skies? Well, no, you still have to think about that day. You still have to think about the I'm Safe checklist. You still have to think about that real world decision making. That's something we talk about so much inside the online ground school, inside the private pilot blueprint. You think about this, like Even over-the-counter medications. What if you're taking something that says, do not operate heavy machinery? Well, an airplane's heavy machinery. In fact, the FAA has no-go medications of over-the-counter medications. And here's what it says. You need to wait at least 5 dosage intervals after the last dose before flying. What does that mean? I'll break down the math for you. Let's say the medication package says take every 4 to 6 hours. Worst case, say 6 hours. 6 times 5 dosage intervals, 30 hours recommended as a grounding period. It's your responsibility to know what you take and how it affects your faculties and your ability to fly. You know, at M0A, we're all about that real-world prep, that real-world go and no-go decision making. This is a topic that just doesn't get covered much. Do me a favor, share this with somebody who needs to hear this. Share this with somebody who needs some inspiration. And will you give some inspiration to others? I know there's people watching this right now who have fought the good fight on an FAA medical and succeeded. Would you just leave a word of encouragement for somebody else in the comments down below? Because you're going to impact people now for years and for generations and help future pilots. Again, to get the new book, privatepilotblueprint.com. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody.